Terror on a Maryland road. We're hearing the first panic calls following Tuesday's school bus MTA bus crash that killed 6 people. Good evening. I'm Michelle Chavez, and this is Maryland Newsline.
And I'm Michael Stern. Late last night, Baltimore police released 911 tapes, and today, new information about the driver of the bus. He allegedly shouldn't have been driving. So far, the NTSB says there are no skid marks on the scene. That indicates the school bus did not slow down before hitting the Ford Mustang. Capitol News Service will bring you updates as the investigation continues.
Notice more elbow room on the metro lately? According to a WTOP report, ridership has decreased by about 100,000 people on weekdays, causing the Metro Board to propose radical changes in a budget today. If approved, the budget would cut 8 hours of rail service per week, cut hundreds of employees, and raise all rail fares by 10 cents and bus fares by 25 cents. One D.C. council member offered a counterproposal saying that if Metro keeps the trains running and fares the same, D.C. would pay Metro back for any budget shortfall on condition that Maryland and Virginia agree to also pay their share.
But Metro riders may have a new way of traveling to and from D.C. in the future. A study released today confirms the viability of a gondola system of enclosed cabins over the Potomac River. If officials decide to move forward, it could take 3 to 4 years to get approval for the project and 2 years to build the gondolas.
Kent Island residents have struggled with failing septic systems for nearly 40 years, a problem that should be resolved with the new sewer line. Supporters believe the $33 million construction will end contaminated water from taking over southern Kent Island, but conservation experts believe that the sewer line could create more harm. CNS TV's Alex Bacinda reports from the Eastern Shore. Kent Island homeowners will pay $100 a month to fund the sewer line construction. Crews are expected to begin in early 2018.
Election Day is just 5 days away, but for some, their ballots have already been cast. In fact, a record number of state residents have taken advantage of early voting, which ends tonight. CNS TV's Sarah Dean is at the Annapolis early voting location, where business remains brisk. Sarah? Thanks, Sarah. Join us Tuesday night for complete election coverage starting at 6:30. We'll be live throughout the evening as Maryland joins the nation in electing a new president.
And just to our south, Virginia officials have shut off an electronic road sign originally encouraging people to vote after it was hacked to support one candidate. The hacker switched the message to rotate between vote Trump, crooked Hillary, and a derogatory term for women. However, the electronic road signs do not have spell check. Hillary was spelled with only one L. And in Maryland, WJLA is reporting another sign was changed today in Clarksburg to say Trump 2016. This sign had no spelling error. Coming up on Maryland Newsline, we have the latest details on the D.C. preschooler who brought a semi-automatic gun to school.
And how do members of hate groups feel about the candidates in the upcoming election? Their answers may surprise you.
Welcome back to Maryland Newsline.
A semi-automatic weapon and a toddler just don't mix, according to a D.C. judge.
No bail tonight for the father of the 3-year-old boy who allegedly brought a loaded gun to his D.C. school. A security guard at Moton Elementary says he found a Glock 17 in the boy's backpack on Tuesday. Police are charging the father with recklessly endangering a child's health, possession of unregistered ammunition, and carrying a pistol without a license.
Hate groups have grown at exponential rates over the decade, and some pundits and political leaders say Donald Trump's rhetoric is only adding fuel to the fire. But CNS TV's Angelo Bavaro joins us live in the newsroom to tell us why that might not actually be the case. Angelo?
Thanks, Michael. I actually had the chance to sit down with a local member of the Ku Klux Klan, and his opinions on this year's presidential race may surprise you.
Thanks, Angelo. A raccoon is dead and a park police officer is in the hospital following an altercation between the two in Northwest D.C. The raccoon attacked the officer earlier today, and in trying to defend himself, the officer shot himself in the foot. The officer's injuries are non-life-threatening, but the raccoon was shot and killed by another officer. And the end of a losing century for one city. We have coverage of the final game of the World Series coming up next on Sports.
And meet the Maryland volleyball coach who spiked the team's rankings.
Welcome back to Maryland Newsline.
Almost 24 hours later, the party is still going on in Chicago. Terrapin Timeout's Thomas Polano has the latest on the end of the curse. Thomas, that was a heck of a game last night.
No doubt about that, Michael.
Thanks, Thomas. We'll stick with the Cubs after the break. They crushed the curse. What was the big game like for fans here in town?
We'll take you to local hotspots for the craziness and the crying after the World Series game of the century. Welcome back to Maryland Newsline.
What was it like to be a Cleveland or Chicago fan last night in the nation's capital? Terrapin Timeout's Claudia Pagan went to D.C. last night to find out.
All right, Mike, I've got to ask you. Do you think LeBron's comments on the 3-1 lead jinxed the Indians?
You know, I don't know if it jinxed them. I think it was just the Cubs' time. I was watching that game. I was staying up, and then when Cleveland hit the 3-run home run, I'm like, oh man, they can't make the Cubs lose again.
Definitely a historic game.
Well, that's Maryland Newsline for tonight. You can find out more about the stories presented here by going to our website, cnsmaryland.org. I'm Michael Stern. Thanks for joining us.
And I'm Michelle Chavez. Don't forget to check out our CNS Facebook page and YouTube as well. You can find us at Maryland Capital News Service. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here Election Day Tuesday.